Hello there, I hope that you're all having a wonderful day, and welcome back to the Lotus SMP for our second ever Comment of the Day video. As always, we're going to walk around the SMP and we're going to take a look at not only the builds that I've ended up making, but what all the incredible creators have made on the server. And we're going to hang out, and I'm going to answer some of y'all's questions, and just have a good time. I always post these videos on the day that the main channel video comes out, so if you're checking into this video on the second channel, you're more than welcome to head over to the main channel and look at the high quality version of everything that you see in this area around me. And I also did just want to say that I've been having such a blast doing these Q&As with you all, and if you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments below so that I can respond to you. It seems that I'm trying to get back to every single comment that I get on these videos, and it doesn't matter to me how long these videos go as long as I can answer all of y'all's questions and get to know you all more and get to share a little bit more about who I am. So why don't we hop into it? Our first question for today's video comes from @ChillFlam, who's a good buddy of mine and an incredible content creator himself. And he asks, where did you get inspired to make your username? And I don't think that the inspiration ever ended up coming in a specific way. I think that the name kind of just evolved and became what it is now. And so the best way to explain it is that my old username was Slipteeny, and I think that you probably know that, Flam. But I know I just go by Slip, and I always wanted to just go by Slip. Back about 2 years or so ago when I started YouTube, I was thinking and just looking into how to make an easy to remember, I guess, username, and a username that sounded good and that sort of thing. And I figured that a weird-ish sort of spelling structure that still made a name that worked given like grammatical English and how we speak words, given how the translation between like the written word and how letters make sounds and that sort of thing. I was like, okay, make a not real word, but make it sound kind of cool. And so the name that I used to have was Slipteeny, and I think that it rolls off the tongue pretty well. There were definitely people that thought it was Sliptinny or something like that, but Slipteeny. And I just kind of rolled off the tongue and kind of had a little punch to it. But the reason that it was Slipteeny in general was that my old Xbox gamer tag back when I was maybe like in 3rd or 4th grade was Martini. And people used to call me by my username, of course, like Martini. I kind of liked teeny, and then like the idea of like a martini glass. And I was young, and I was like, oh, cool! Like I have like an adult reference too, and a martini glass definitely looks cool. And actually, my first ever profile picture when I first ever started this channel was of a martini glass. Purple background. If I can find it, I'll put it up on the screen right now. If I can't, I'm sorry, but I think I still might have it somewhere. But of a martini glass, and so an old gamer tag for the teeny part of Slipteeny, and then the slip part. I love listening to rap music, and back when I was in high school, the rap group Migos, they ended up coming out with their first ever Culture album. And I think that it could be the song Bad and Bougie, or it could just be Slippery by Migos. It's off the Culture 1 album. It goes, slippery, don't confuse me, believe me. And I really just liked that part, and I put it on repeat, especially like the slippery part for whatever reason. And it got so prolific that my friends, I think actually this was at the beginning of college, my freshman year of college. All of my friends, they started calling me they would be like, Slippery, as soon as I came into the room. And I loved it. I was like, slippery. And eventually it kind of just became like Slip, and my friends had their own nicknames for me, and I've had plenty of nicknames that I've loved throughout my life. But during this period of college, it just became Slip. And then I had to go home during COVID from college, and I think that I was kind of still known as like Slip in my friend group, and COVID was definitely when I started playing Minecraft once again and just giving things thought. And so I think that the way that I was considered based on the people that knew me was kind of like slippery at the same time. And then I took my old part from the teeny from Martini, and I put the two together, and I was like, Slip Teeny. I feel like that sounds pretty good. But at the same time, I'd always wanted it just to kind of be Slip. I think that the Teeny was just like an extra add-on because I saw that there were other Slips on YouTube and there was other Slips on Minecraft. And I've talked about this before. There was a YouTuber called Just Call Me Slip, I think. And they were just a streamer, but they had like 2,000 subscribers at the time. And I had like 10 subscribers at the time. Or maybe not even any. I think I was just making the account, right? And I was like, I want to be the Slip on YouTube, but I can't really take that over. And so I just became Slip Teeny. And then I actually ended up meeting that streamer. I ended up doing a $1,000 Minecraft money tournament, which I didn't win with Beerfunger. And he has a great video with it. And it was a total blast. But I met the other Slip, and he was streaming, and I realized that he was just a streamer thing. And I also realized, and nothing bad against him, but I realized how dog-heartedly I was going to work in comparison to like what he was putting out. I was like, I care about this a lot more. I'm gonna become the Slip on YouTube. And to be frank, I continued to be Slip Teeny, and then I grew and I grew, and I'd always wanted to be Slip in the back of my mind, and then eventually I got bigger than the other guy. I was like, okay, it's time for me to take the throne and be Slip on YouTube like I'd always wanted to. And I worked really hard to do that. So really no inspiration. I kind of just like pick and chose things, and it kind of meshed together. And I think that part of the reason I wanted Slip too was just because it's short and sweet, right? And then maybe also I love Flip too. So Slip, Flip. It just works. It works for me. And I really like it. So that's how the name came to be. Our next question, which happens to be a really fantastic question, comes in from @Eon Drifter. And they ask, I'm always curious how you record your videos. Do you record everything and edit later? Do you choose specific scenes and just record? And I don't think that I have a very straightforward answer to this, but I definitely have, I think, a very helpful answer. First, I'll say that I record using OBS, which is free, and then I edit my videos using Premiere Pro, which I pay for. But I also work for an energy bar company, and I edit videos for them, and I get paid as kind of like almost like a contractor for them through social media, and so that pays for my Premiere Pro along with doing this on YouTube. But I totally recommend, before I ever got paid for anything, I just about 2 years ago I decided to purchase Premiere Pro and learn the software. And taking that step up, if you're using a lower grade platform, has made all the difference. It made all the difference in the world for me, because it allowed for me to do as much of a deep dive into getting better at making videos as possible. I wasn't limited by anything anymore. And that it really, the sky's the limit when you really invest in yourself. And that's what it was. And I invested in myself, and I learned how to use the editing platform, and now my use of the editing platform pays for it. And so I totally recommend, if you're really about it, taking the deep dive and learning. And it takes a long time, and I'm still, definitely a beginner intermediate video editor, but I'm self-taught, and I've come a long way from it. So yeah, that's a side tangent, but do I record everything and edit later, or do I choose specific scenes and just record? I'm going to start with the first part here. So, do you record everything and edit later? Yeah, that's what I've been doing recently. That's been helpful for me the more that I've learned how to become organized with files and that sort of thing. And then I think also just becoming very efficient as a video editor with a priority on batch editing or batch recording and that sort of thing. And there's a reason for that when it comes to efficiency. The thing is, when you hop from one task from another, there's always a little bit of what you could call like attention residue. It takes you a little bit of extra time to move on from one task to the next task. So for example, if I was recording a video and I had 8 hours to do it, and I decided if I was able to pick and choose by the scene, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I want to say these things, and I'm gonna script it out, and then I'm gonna record the replay videos for it, like the cinematics. So like hop in game and commentate, and then hop out and record the cinematics for that part, and then hop back in game and record, and then do the cinematics and that sort of thing. Every single time that I go from task A to recording to task B, which is filming the cinematics, it's going to take me a little bit of extra time to get back into like a cognitively efficient state, or like what you would call a flow state. And in order to get as much content out as I can, I try to prioritize flow states as much as I can. A flow state, for those of you that don't know, is when your brain is just so focused without any distractions for one period of time that it kind of has like a tunneling effect on your focus, and as a result can lead to tons of efficiency per unit of time. So if you have Facebook in the background and you hear all of the blings going off, or you're responding to people in DMs going back and forth, you're going to be way less efficient than if you have no distractions and you just hone in. And we all know that, and that sort of thing. But it's also important to hone in for as long as you cognitively can on one specific task that is deliberately challenging. And so the recording thing by itself, if you push your recording stamina and grow that skill on commentating and your ability to do it for longer and that sort of thing, that is going to allow you to record more and get out more because you're honed in on that one task. And then at a different point in time, when you're more mentally refreshed and ready to drain the battery and do skill development on a different task, say then doing the replay mod cinematics, that is going to lead to higher efficiency, and you're going to get more done in terms of more recording and more cinematic editing in per the unit of time that you spent on both of those projects, as opposed to whether or not or if you were multitasking. It's not going to really be as beneficial if you are going back and forth. Not only is it you're physically going back and forth, but your brain takes time to get back into that flow state. And so as someone that really is all about maximizing those flow states, I'm all about recording as much as I can and then editing as much as I can. And what does that look like? On a weekend day, something like today, I won't be doing any editing. So I'm recording the second channel video, and then I have a secret video that I don't want to talk to you guys about, but I'm having so much fun doing it. Yeah, I don't want to talk about it right now. But it's super fun, and it's in terms of the style of video that it is, it's much more on tune with the first time I ever did 100 days in the video, in the desert video, which is like a 2.5 hour long movie where I kind of just like take it more low key, and not as highly cinematic, which is fun because my Lotus episodes, as you all know, are incredibly cinematic and that sort of thing. But what that will look like, since I do both, right? Today is all just about talking into the microphone and recording and getting to play the game and enjoying the weekend. And hopefully hanging out with people on the Lotus SMP. But I won't touch any editing software. I guess besides putting this video out for you all today, just because I want to, and I can whip these up pretty quickly. It takes me like an hour and a half to edit it up, and that's really not bad whatsoever. So generally speaking, I'll just record today, and then I am working tomorrow, but if I wasn't working tomorrow would be if I was recording cinematics today during my gameplay for Lotus. Tomorrow would be specifically only doing replay mod cinematics, and so I would spend 6 hours, doing replay mod cinematics until either I finished the product or I just couldn't do it anymore. Once I had maxed my cognitive, grind on the task and that sort of thing, I would move on to the next one. So 6 hours of replay mod cinematics, and I do that every single week. I'll batch it out, and it's a grind, right? And then the next day or two, no playing Minecraft, no speaking into the microphone, no nothing like that. It's only in Premiere Pro. I'm only doing video editing. And that can look like while I'm brushing my teeth, I'm on Epidemic Sound, and I'm listening to different music tracks that I'd want to put in and that sort of thing. So everything is a specific task, and I'm not flip-flopping whatsoever. So recording everything and editing later. Although I wouldn't say that that's like perfect for everybody. And especially during given my schedule that's working right now, but during the work year and that sort of thing. It'll be the kind of thing where on Wednesday in particular, I'll record. And then Thursday evening after work, I'll edit and that sort of thing. And so each afternoon, just the time I'm able to dedicate towards those things, it's just a little bit shorter during my normal work year. But I'm an elementary school teacher, and I think some of you guys know that. And so that's very helpful for me. But I would say that a lot of people, it's really helpful for them if they record the scene and then they the next day they edit the scene and that sort of thing. I'm going to record everything and I'm going to edit everything. And that helps with the AI that I use, and that helps with, for me, just breaking down each chunking part of the process to make it seem more accessible and easier to do instead of like a massive thing. Like, I'm able to break down these big things into smaller things, but I think that also comes with time and experience. So I would just see what works for you and that sort of thing. See if it's easier for you to be as organized as possible and as efficient as possible if you flip-flop and do one chapter of the story and then do the next chapter of the story and that sort of thing. But I've gotten to a point where I just do the whole thing, I record the whole thing, and then I edit the whole thing, and each one is a huge project by itself, but I've learned how to chunk it down into smaller parts that I can do as efficiently as possible. And I've found different times of the day and different things I can do to multitask or to flow state, to do shallow work or deep work and that sort of thing. And if you're curious about how I've gotten so efficient, I highly recommend checking out Deep Work by Cal Newport. I've read it, listened to it on audio or Audible maybe 11 or 12 times, and in a good but in a bad way, it makes me into a productivity robot, and I get a ton done, but balance in everything as I am learning as much as I can. So that's the first part. And then, do I choose specific scenes and just record? I'm pretty deliberate. I would say I'm pretty deliberate when it comes to how I craft my stories. And I think I love doing that. So on the main channel for this video that's coming out today, you'll see that I specifically am transporting materials over to the new house, and it starts off with that cinematic, but I'm also setting the scene because there were things that happened in between recording sessions that I didn't want to have to include because I'm deliberate about the story. So it starts with me being like, okay, things are happening with the oat organization, but I've had to keep it on the down low. And that flips immediately into a scene about me getting accused for being a part of oat. And so that was quite deliberate on my part. Heading over, trying to make that story continue. And that wasn't the specific idea of what exactly I'd wanted, but the more going out with a specific recording intention, being like, okay, I'm gonna go try to find Skipper and Meffert and see if they can accuse me about being on Oat. And it was very easy. I lucked out with it. And then heading to be like, okay, then it's gonna be material collection, and then I'm going to have this cutscene, hopefully with this person, and then I'm gonna go check out these people's bases, and then before I go and build myself, I'm gonna make sure that I have a cutscene from my new or a new commercial from the terracotta shop, and then finish that all off with a build, and then talk about the build and kind of have a cliffhanger or a lead in into the next episode. And so every part there is scripted, I would say. And so I think a lot about that, and I go out with a specific recording intention. But one thing about being on an SMP as well is that things come really organically too, and that's a total blast. For example, we have a really big server event that kind of just like happened, and I never would have thought about doing it. And there's so many funny things that happened during that server event that I never would have expected. And it's all like gold content and that sort of thing. And so being like, oh, I'm gonna fit in this collaboration part into the next video's storyline, and then how can I be deliberate and intentional with the other recording sessions to warp the story around that server event based on the way that the server event transpired, and how to make the coolest story happen from that. And so I'm still in the process of doing that, and I know that it's gonna lead with a pre-game event, and then the server event, and then reflections on the server event, and then material collection, and then another build. I know that that's how it's gonna happen. But if other things happen along the way, I'll fit those things in too. But it's I would say it is quite intentional, and that's part of the fun. I think that's when you look back at my 1000 days in hardcore and you look at that kingdom, it's because that was my best work at that time, because it was so intentional the entire time. And so I was getting better and being deliberate with what I put where in the area and with what block palettes, and how am I going to include things at what point in time and what makes the most sense for the kingdom's development. I'm doing that even more so with Lotus, and how can I create an incredible story with 26 other people. And so since there's also so many people, in order to tell a good story, you have to be deliberate, because you almost have too much content, which is something that I've never experienced as well. So anyway, that's a total ramble, but I love chatting about the process, and I love the process. So thanks so much for tuning in to this question, and let's move on to the next one. Our next comment and our next question is going to come from Serene YTTV, who's asking, where do you edit from? Well, I edit from the office in my apartment room, in my bedroom, I would say. And then, as I was saying, I edit in Premiere Pro. And there's tons of great things that you can do. I would say that if you're trying to really get into video editing, look up Finzar on YouTube, and you can learn a lot of things from him. But he also has a package for like video effects and like text pop-ups and that sort of thing. That was $50, and I got it a year and a half ago, and it made all the difference in the world. It has made things just so much easier, and learning how the specific mechanics of the different effects that I have now as a preset has enabled me to become more creative as a video editor myself, and be able to like make my own presets and like that sort of stuff. But I needed to, in order to like get into like the higher quality field or game without just like taking too much time to figure it out, Finzar's presets, he has a package for like $50, as I'm saying, and it's totally worth it. And it goes straight with Premiere Pro, and it makes everything a ton easier. And so I highly recommend doing that. And then I do use, for a lot of second channel videos, I'll use Pixels, which is an AI thumbnail editor, which I know that's a very controversial thing. And I haven't been using it as much. I think there's a balance, but there is something to be said about taking generated imagery and then also editing it into your own style, like taking it and making it your own. Like, so, very controversial. Definitely let me know how you feel about AI art. I get comments every week on the second channel of people being like, I wish that I could support you because I like your video, but I'm not going to, specifically because you use AI art. And I understand it. But I also know that sometimes you have to go with the flow. And in order to be able to have made as many videos as I was recently, doing a video every single week, just getting everything out, recording, editing, doing everything myself, if I had to go back into the game and try to figure out a really good thumbnail as opposed to putting in a prompt, my efficiency, it just wouldn't have happened. And so the more I got into it, the more I was like, oh, I can make these my own. And it's actually really fun and kind of cool to do it. And it's kind of addicting seeing what the AI makes, if I'm being honest. And so I would use Pixels for a baseline thumbnail. And then whether or not I'm getting a different thumbnail through like replay mod or like Freecam or from like a screenshot or that sort of thing, I always use Photopea, which is just online. It's free. Go Photopea, PEA online, and it works, I've heard, very similarly to Photoshop. And for me, it works like a charm. And there's so many different things that I can do to make the thumbnails better. And if I didn't have Photopea, I'd probably purchase Photoshop, but I would say don't purchase Photoshop because Photopea has everything you need. So that's what I use. Our next question is a wonderful question from a long-term sub from Belina Cookie. And they ask, will you ever make a Minecraft server? And if you would like for me to make a Minecraft server, just leave a comment on this video with like the video game controller and that sort of thing. I'd love to do it, and I think I'd have a blast hanging out with you guys. The thing is, it costs money to make a YouTube server, and I don't have the sort of money where I can just purchase a server to play with you guys. Spending my money to play Minecraft in a way that isn't content related sounds like fun, but it's also something that I'm not able to do at the moment. But I would love to do it, and I think that the way that I would do it, if there's enough of interest, is to do a members only server. And that's what Bars does, who's someone that I've been watching a lot of. And then it also gives members and I an opportunity to do cutscenes together. You'll see in videos coming up in the future that I'm going to have some other YouTubers that are not a member of the Lotus SMP kind of like come into the world for like a little joke and a skit and a cutscene and that sort of thing. And I think that that's just fun, and it's just in the name of collaboration and bringing more people into the community and that sort of thing. And if you really like my videos and you want to be like in the Lotus SMP, although you're not, or if you want to be in the hardcore world, although you're not, and that sort of thing, the best way to do it is say I need terracotta or something like that. We can go into the SMP, and you and we can like do a cutscene and that sort of thing and chit chat, and then we can collect terracotta. And although it's for the SMP, I would cinematically edit it up just like it was part of the Lotus SMP. And so you'd be in the world, although you wouldn't be, if that makes sense. And that's something that I've wanted to do for years, and I've finally figured out kind of how to do it. And so I'm doing it, but that takes a lot of time. as y'all know, and I already work multiple jobs and whatnot, so it would have to be a paid option, but it's something that I would really love to do, and I think it'd be so fun. So really, the world is your oyster, and a lot of y'all know Flow SMP, and it seems like the more he's made platforms in order to get to know his community more and been able to interact with them, the more he's really enjoyed that process too. And that's what these comment of the day videos are about. So if we can do that, and I can actually hop in a game with you all, that'd be so fun in my personal opinion. So yeah, leave that that controller down below. And once again, if you've gotten so far in this video and you have a question that you'd like for me to answer next week in next week's video, please do consider leaving a comment down below too. But time for the next question. Our next question comes from user, and then I think the rest happen to get deleted. I do want to know, like, why does that happen? I see that all the time in comments and that sort of thing. And break the net, if you're watching this video, the first time that you ever commented on my videos, I was kind of skeptical because for whatever reason, I don't know if it was a new account or that sort of thing, but your account too also showed up as a user without anything else, and it had your profile picture. But I was like, you know, it's way different, you know, when you have like a nice picture and a bio and you give some information about yourself, right? But user is not as friendly. But thank you, user, for coming in here and asking my real height. I'm a short guy. I am not tall. I'm 5'6", which is fine. I work as an elementary school teacher, so I'm taller than the people that I work with for the most part. Except for, you know, there's a couple of other guy teachers that work at the elementary school. And it's a female-dominated workforce, and so I'm pretty on par with a lot of the height that my coworkers have and that sort of thing. And I'm the tallest person in my immediate family, so I have no problem with my height whatsoever. I don't know if I always felt that way. Probably in high school, I'd wanted things to change, and maybe a little bit in college. But no, I really like who I am now. I like everything that I do. I work for an energy bar company, and I do this Minecraft YouTube channel, and I tell everyone about that now. And so I have no problem being this nerd that likes exercising and has a real connection with his online community and loves playing Minecraft, and isn't embarrassed to be himself about that as a 5'6" guy. That's me. I'm 5'6". And our last question comes from nvixie1 on Discord, and they ask, what's your favorite enchantment book and level? And I've always played hardcore Minecraft, and I'm sure that there are better options out here, but I'm just going to go with what I thought for my first impression, and that's going to be Feather Falling 4. Yeah, I've always played hardcore. I think that the difference sometimes between surviving in a hardcore world and not is having Feather Falling 4, especially when it comes to something like the dragon fight, or even fighting the Wither, or going to the trial chambers now, which I still haven't done. Having Feather Falling 4 is going to make all the difference in the world. If you're ever playing a UHC match, having Feather Falling 4 is going to make all the difference in the world. You could see that that was important, I think, for Minecraft SOS as well. For me, I'm probably the happiest when I get Feather Falling 4 for a book, because I'm like, okay, just a bag. And I would say, you know, of course I like mending, but I think that there's caveats to it, and it's nice to not have one tool set forever, right? So I'd love to know what are y'all's favorite enchantment books and levels. For me, it might be boring, but Feather Falling 4 it makes all the difference in the world. And the last thing I can say about it too is that one of my favorite video games of all time is Black Ops 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And in that game, instead of just like running as a soldier on the ground, you're able to run on the walls and like wall jump and that sort of thing, and be really agile and have, you know, really be able to be mobile, I guess is a good word for it. And Feather Falling 4 enables for you to do that in game. It, Feather Falling 4 gives you the confidence and the ability to go for higher MLG clutches and to feel okay when you're in a sketchy situation, whether it be a fight or if you're trying to run away from something. If I'm in the Nether in particular, I feel way safer if I have Feather Falling 4. And I kind of just feel like a god when I have them too. More so than anything. Like, I think that Smite is a great enchantment for a sword, and I can just put zombies down, but nothing makes me feel more safe and comfortable in my shoes, which is punny, than having Feather Falling 4 on. So that's the one that I'm gonna have to go for. I hope that you guys have enjoyed hanging around on the Lotus SMP with me today. You got a little bit of exclusive footage, a great little note that we got from Cobb that I haven't even put in the video, and a lot of kind of sneak peeks at a bunch of different builds, which it's funny. You can hop onto a Minecraft server and then 2 days later, when you haven't been online, everything has changed, and it's fun. It's great to play with all your friends. I gotta say, I'm having a blast doing it. But I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. I hope that you're excited for 200 days in Minecraft's desert, which is going to come next week, and then maybe no video next week on this channel. It might be 2 weeks from now. The reason being, my birthday is July 28th, and my mom is coming. We're gonna go to Vail, Colorado, and have a wonderful time together. So if there's no video, it's a good thing. I'm taking a break to go out and touch some grass and eat some good food and celebrate with my favorite person on this planet, my mom. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend, if not wonderful week or so, and I will chat with you soon.